Well, I'll start before my slides. Howdy. My name's Chris May. I am the open source solutions advocate at Sangoma. My day-to-day meetings are with business, product, marketing, and legal. I include them as well. I do a lot with our VoIP platforms, and particularly Asterisk and FreePBX. So Sangoma, we are the stewards of the Asterisk open source project. It's a toolkit for telephony, if you're not familiar, phone calls over the internet. And FreePBX is a GUI for Asterisk. So I am presenting today about Ansible on Localhost, which is a little different way to think about it. Shall we meet again? This is lightning talk, so hope you appreciate the lightning bolts that may randomly appear throughout. So I started about a year ago at Sangoma. I had been involved 20 years on my own doing a variety of small, medium office phone systems, mostly with Asterisk and FreePBX, custom development. And the project took a turn about a year ago when CentOS 7 went end of life, and they needed to switch over FreePBX to Debian. And I liked the direction that was going. So I'll just continue on my lightning talk of this one slide. And I wanted to talk today about the process that was in place. There wasn't one yet for an ISO. Oh, here we are. Here I am. Meet me. Talk about the idea for today and a goal for everybody. A little bit of thinking about some past work with shell scripts and replacing those with Ansible and how I use that in practical PBX management tasks. So I'm fairly active on our community forums for Asterisk and FreePBX. There's my handle and my other social medias there. I recently set up a Debian Salsa account on GitHub as well. That's me at my workstation. This is an opportunity to look at choices in fonts in the future, standardize those. But the big idea to apply DevOps tools to your local host machine and save yourself time. And today's goal for everyone here is to help you rewrite one large, scary shell script as an Ansible role. So quick show of hands, who's worked with shell scripts? Everybody? Okay, great. Who's played with Ansible? Okay, everyone who had their hand up for the Ansible, the shell script folks, find a buddy and you can chat after the talk about why you should do what I'm about to talk about. So in the past, of course, we've seen shell scripts grow and grow and grow. Over the past 60 years, shell scripts have been around. Seem like there are still some shell scripts in production that are that old. The first Unix shell was the Thompson shell in 1971, as far as I can tell. Bash, fairly common. Fish, I think, is there's some people here advocating for that. But I want to talk about some of the benefits of Ansible, specifically commenting as a great place. Never mind all those fun, different pointers there. I mean, it's something you don't see a lot in shell scripts is commenting, but Ansible, you've kind of got to do it. So when I'm managing PBXs, I'm updating passwords occasionally, updating keys. Great, Ansible is great at that kind of task. Looking at a bunch of logs on a cluster to figure out what phone call went from one machine to the other, and installing systems. So when I started at Sangoma about a year ago, I got started in this project to work on our FreePBX 17 ISO that was going to be based on Debian, and talk a little bit about that, like how it went kind of awry with my shell approach, and then just refactoring in Asterisk, or Ansible. So on the move I talked about from CentOS 7 to Debian 12, there's a lot of plumbing that needed to change, and there was a shell installer to install FreePBX 17, so I thought, all right, I'll pick up the ball and run with it to install this ISO. This could be a graph of frustration with shell scripts over time, or just increasing line of code, or the amount of time it takes to refactor shell scripts sometimes. It's difficult to work on with a team. So I decided to refactor. We Ansible the process. We take a stock vanilla Debian ISO, rip it open, take out some interesting bits, add some more, put a little spray paint on top, and then output a preceded FreePBX 17 ISO that you can install in your own system. The eagle eye will spot the comma after localhost, so that's the trick if you want to run Ansible locally, which is great when you're dealing with lots of large ISOs and the time to download those and install those on physical hardware, which is something Sangoma sells, can be extensive. a couple commands here. I used only about a dozen in the built-in Ansible commands for this process. Command and shell, if you're just getting started and you have one big script that you want to put in Ansible, a great way is to use the script command, and then you can kind of break things out, but you can still, call out the shells and commands when you need to. So I find that this is a good approach, and I think it could be useful for more, shell programs to be moved out in this way. I also found that it was a lot easier once we had an Ansible role to have other people working on different parts and working together so that we could be adding features more quickly and putting this into our factory warehouse so we can actually ship physical appliances to schools and hotels that run phone systems. And of course, it wasn't easy enough with Ansible. Some people were still, slightly concerned that it's Ansible. I don't know. So I wrapped a shell script around the Ansible playbook, and there's some code there about that. So thus defeating the purpose of my talk. But you can download the code and send me an email. Some thoughts on this about 10 years ago from someone I never met on the internet in regards to doing this and why might even be easier to start with an Ansible role versus a shell script. So thanks. Have a great day.